Hi Cliff fans, and welcome to another one of my Cliff 5-minute album reviews. And today I'm going to review Cliff's 2011 album, Soulicious. Yeah, the album was released in 2011 and it got to number 10 in the British album chart. Um, just an absolutely fantastic album. It was produced by Ashford and Simpson and legendary songwriter Lamont Dozier, who was part of the Holland Dozier and Holland team back in the 60s. They wrote nearly every single Motown track back then, and I think they had between them they had about 50 number ones in America and all over the world. So, but anyway, back to the album. I think it was David Guest, a friend of Cliff's, that David Guest got all these legends of soul together to work with Cliff, and just it just makes for a cracking album. I think this album, I know it was the fans absolutely loved it at the time, but I think over the last few years, I think it's gone under the radar. But it's just a fantastic album. It's just amazing. The only thing I don't like about the album, if I'm gonna like nitpick, is the title. I'm not crazy about the title Soulicious. I think it's a bit cringy actually. I never really liked that title, Soulicious. I know a lot of fans do like it, but it's just something that I just thought when he named the album Soulicious, it might take away from this brilliant album, because I think at the time, before the album was released, you could listen to little clips of the songs on Clip's website, and I remember hearing about, you could hear about 15 seconds of each track. And I was very excited for this album because all the songs sounded fantastic. Then I heard he was going to call the album Soulicious, which I thought was a bit, as I say, cringy. But I suppose it's okay. It's grown on me over the years. But anyway, back to the album. The album opens with Saving a Life, which was a duet with Frida Payne. Now, I hadn't a clue who Frida Payne was before this album. I obviously heard the song "Band to Gold" before, but I had no idea who sang it. But this song "Saving a Life" is absolutely amazing. Absolutely love it. Cliff's vocals are absolutely perfect on this song, and it's a great opener to the album. It follows "Go On and Tell Him," which is probably my favorite song on this album. I think it was my favorite back when I first got the album, and it's still my favorite today. Followed by Do You Ever with Brenda Holloway, which is another fan favorite on this album. I absolutely love it as well. Followed by Teardrops, which was a Womack song. I think it goes back even further than that, surely. But he sings it with Candy Staton, which is just absolutely brilliant. Another thing I'll say about this album, when Rise Up was released a couple of years ago, um, I suppose it was a marketing thing, but they said it was his first um, album of new songs, entirely of new songs, since Something's Going On. Well, this album is pretty much primarily new material at the time. I think there's only 4 actual covers on this album, and even Rise Up wasn't a complete um, entirely new material, because Someone was a cover. But anyway, it's just something I noticed. But I suppose it's part of the promotion. You just say it's his first album of new material since Something's Going On. It's probably helped the sales. Anyway, the next song is called "When I Was Your Baby," which is another one of my favorites on this. Rebecca Flack. I did hear Rebecca Flack before this album. Um, she had a great song called "The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face," which is one of my favorite songs of all time. So I do know who Rebecca Flack was. Followed by "Are You Feeling Me" with Denise Williams. Followed by which is a beautiful song. Followed by "How Happy," which is probably my least favorite song on this album. It's a fun track. I actually like it. But I like hearing it, but I don't love it. It's with Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr. Billy Davis Jr. from Fifth Dimension. Yeah, it's probably my least favorite track. It was like there's not much up for it. It's not much of a song, I don't think. Anyway, that follows Every Piece of My Broken Heart, which is a great track as well. Followed by How We Get Down with the Stylistics, which is very kind of 70s kind of um, funky kind of soul song, which I absolutely love. It's probably the most Soulicious song on the album. Um, Followed by This Time With You, which is a brilliant song as well. Another one with Candy Stanton. And then that follows Don't Say You Love Me, It'll Ruin My Day, which I'm not that crazy about either. It's the only track that Cliff does on his own on the album. It's not a duet, but yeah, it's a very fast, upbeat kind of dance track. I don't think it suits Cliff at all, but yeah, I like it, but I don't love it. Followed by one of the strongest songs on the album, She Looked Good, which is absolutely brilliant. Um, he sings it with Dennis Edwards and the Temptation Review, who also featured on Go On and Tell Him. And of course, Lamont Dozier does focus on that one as well. That follows with I'm Your Puppet, which is a duet with the legendary Percy Sledge. And I think at the time, Percy Sledge said he was singing for over 50 years and never done a duet before in his life, and Cliff was the first time he attempted to do a duet, which is fantastic. And this, yeah, that was a cover as well. It's just an absolutely fantastic song, and I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorites on the album. Another one of my favorites on the album is Next, Always and Forever. That was a number one in America in the late 70s or early 80s for a band called Heatwave. And Cliff is featured here singing it with Billy Paul. Well, but not really singing it with Billy Paul. Billy Paul only comes in for that bit at the Mrs. Jones bit at the end. And the album closes with a duet with the legendary Primo Bryson, Birds of a Feather, which is another strong song on the album. So overall, this album, I absolutely love this album. As I say, through the years, I feel like it's gone a little bit underrated. I know it was a big fan favourite at the time it came out, but I feel like, and maybe it's just me, I feel like it's gone a little bit under the radar in the last couple of years. But so if you haven't listened to this one, you should dig this one out and listen to it again. But it's definitely a 10 out of 10 again for me. Absolutely love this album. I like it a little bit more than, I like it a lot more than Boulder's Brass. I like Boulder's Brass, but I don't love it as much as this album. Soulicious.